You had a flip phone up. I mean, you had a flip phone when I met you, I think.
Oh, yeah. But that deer literally was living in a little corner of this cut and just living off of what was growing in that cut.
Not only did I shoot all 4 broadheads that were in my quiver at that bird, I had to walk over and pick arrows up and chase it down and shoot it there because I never touched it once with one of those arrows.
I feel so weak as a hunter.
There again, we've got to realize that in the end, none of this matters. I can't take any of it with me.
Welcome to the Before the Echo podcast. We're either going to be talking about God or deer hunting. I hope you enjoy it. Before we get into the episode, I got to keep the lights on in the talker compound here and give you some ad reads. I've been running ASIO gear the last few seasons, and honestly, it just flat out works. It's dead quiet, fits right, which I love, and it's built for guys like us who are grinding in a tree when it's cold, windy, hot, miserable. If you need it for deer hunting, ASIO gear has you covered. If you're serious about whitetails, give ASIO a look. Use code ECHO15 to save 15% off at checkout. I got one of their shirts on right now. Visit ASIOgear.com and get you some new camo. I've been using Hawke Optics this year, and man, they just make solid, affordable optics. They're super clear. The scopes are holding zero great for me, and I was a big fan of the red dot on my turkey gun this season. Whether I'm bow hunting or carrying a rifle, I'm going to have some type of Hawke Optics with me. If you use code BTE at checkout, you can save 15% off an already affordable optic. So visit HawkeOptics.com to get you some great optics. Look, I'm an indecisive person, especially when it comes to broadheads. And I've shot animals with about everything you could think of. I started using razor broadheads, and I haven't looked back. They fly true, they're super sharp, and they're tough as nails. I wanted something I can trust when the shot finally came together, and Razor flat out just delivered for me. It's the kind of gear you don't have to second guess, which is important in a broadhead. If you use code BTE, you can save 20% off a pack of Razor broadheads. So visit RazorBroadheads.com and go check them out. If you're like me, you don't want to be hugging a bunch of heavy gear around in the woods, especially here in the hills in Indiana. And that's why I started using the stuff the guys at Latitude Outdoors makes. Their saddles and platforms are lightweight, quiet, they're built tough for hunters who stay on the move, hiking around public land after some big whitetail. We work hard as deer hunters, and if you want gear that works hard for you and won't kill your back lugging it around the woods, check out Latitude Outdoors and save 15% off at checkout by using code BTE. That's 15% off with code BTE at latitudeoutdoors.com. Dave, welcome back to the podcast. You're like you've been on a handful of times now.
Yeah.
Dave we're part owner of Razor Broadheads, which is one of the primary sponsors of the show. And we are in Kansas again for the second time, I guess. For me, third or four times you've been out here now.
Yep.
So we come out here scouting, and we always come out in like the heat of summer for some reason. I don't know why we don't come out here in the spring.
It's just what our schedules allowed this year.
Yeah.
I mean, this was like the only week in the summer that kind of worked for us. So when you got a chance to go, you just take advantage of it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And it was 90-something degrees today and hot. But we came out here 2 years ago and had probably the best hunt of our lives.
Absolutely.
Which I've talked about it on this show before. But we lost that property that we could hunt. It got leased out last year or this year or whenever it was. So you ended up finding another farmer that's going to let us hunt his properties as well, but we've never been there. We're going there tomorrow.
Yep.
So that's what we're down here doing.
Yeah. So that story actually goes back 4 years ago.
Yeah.
The first year I ever came down here before you started coming, I had a public piece I was hunting a couple hours from where we're staying right now. And I was hunting way back on this public piece, and there's a private property that adjacent it
Yep.
And I called the landowner to see not if I could even hunt on this lady's property. I just wanted to walk across to get into the public. And really nice lady. And she says, well, you probably have to ask the farmer that she was out of state. She didn't even live in the state.
Oh, okay.
So I call up this guy and super nice. And he said, yeah, you can walk across it. In fact, if you want to just hunt my properties, you can do that.
Yeah.
So we didn't draw that unit up until this year. So even though I've had technically permission for 4 years, this will be the first year
you could go in there.
Yeah. So we're going to scout it tomorrow.
Yeah. Today we bounced around on these properties around here, around Terry's property, which is we stay at Terry's cabin, this is Terry's cabin we're sitting in right now. And then we have dinner with him tonight and his wife, and they're the best.
We've got such a good relationship with them. Just absolutely nicest people you could ever think of.
Yeah, and funny,
hospitable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they have killed. Not Terry specifically, I don't think, but Dick and Larry and them. They are. I think they're. I don't know if they're bow hunters or not, but they're rifle hunters. They've killed some big deer around here.
Yep, the biggest one they got, and this was probably over 20 years ago. I think it was one of the cousins, but 223 inches.
Yep.
Off this property.
Crazy.
Yep.
And we say that it's not like we're blessed that they're letting us send out here, but it's primarily just cattle. They're cattle farmers.
Yep.
So it's primarily just cattle pastures and whatnot.
Yep.
There's probably total on their whole properties. How many acres of wood do you think there actually is? I mean,
it's probably 90 pasture, 10%
woods.
Yep.
But
in some ways, it does make it easier because the deer are going to be in that 10%. So you always think you want more woods, there's more cover, and that is partially true. But when it narrows it down to that, you know where to find them for the most part.
And that's what I think out here that we've found. Like, obviously, the better property you have, the better opportunity you're going to have, like we had at the property we were hunting a couple of years
unnamed property.
Yeah. But what we've also seen is, like, if you can find a spot that has, like, on these weehaws or like Terry's properties that, maybe it's not the best piece in the block, but it can, like, a lot of these places connect everything. There's like draws and creeks and stuff that runs everywhere, and they're all kind of connected, or some of them are all connected. And if you can find, even if your property has one little strip of creek on it with trees on it, but on this side and this side there's big woods, like especially in the rut when we're going to come up here in November, like, that's all you really need down here is just a draw.
Yeah.
That deer are going to use.
Yeah, we've said it a million times. There are properties in the Midwest that you would drive right past if it looked like this there.
Yeah.
But here, it could be dynamite. And it goes just to what you're saying, that you might have that one little draw, but that draw ties into a draw that's several miles long.
Yeah.
And those deer could come from anywhere in that draw.
Yep.
And you just need to be at the right place, right time, and he's going to come walking through.
Yeah.
It's a roll of the dice, just like anything.
Yeah. It's kind of like put your time in.
Yeah.
Because out here, like, me thinking on these properties we're on, like, I don't know how much the deer are actually bedding on them, especially maybe right now this time of year. But, like, once they run, because they're going to rotate cattle through these properties that we're hunting. So, like, every property we are hunting is going to have cattle on it this summer. They're just going to, rotate them on as food runs out for them. So, like, this place will look drastically different in November than it does now. The cattle will go through them eventually.
And we struggle a little bit with that today,
Yeah.
looking for sign, because it's not anything like it's going to look like in a few months.
Right. I think it's just one of those things where it's like, there's big deer in Kansas and there's big deer in the area.
Yep.
It's got to. You're not finding buck beds and hunting over buck beds
Nope.
here.
You're not finding a bunch of rubs and scrapes. It's
you probably could maybe, but
yeah,
not as efficient.
No. So essentially, the way a lot of including the one that we're on, farms work out here, are the cattle come out. I think they're on 6-month leases.
Yep.
And they run them for 6 months, and they're all here now. And then they probably pick them up September, maybe early October.
I think it's May to September.
Okay.
Or something like that.
And we usually come out here in November.
Yeah.
The cattle are gone, and it just looks completely different.
Yeah.
At that time, with cameras, we hung a couple cameras today.
Yeah.
but we had to be very selective on where we put those because
we found we picked out a couple places where we're like, the cattle are going.
you're just going to get cattle pictures. Yeah.
Or they're going to rub against it, like you said.
Yeah. You put our mineral site out, and you're going to get 1,000.
Yeah, 1,000
cow pictures.
We did put a mineral site out today.
Yep.
It's legal to do all that in Kansas. I mean, we could hunt over bait if we wanted to here. That's not our thing, but for getting pictures, man, it's in the summertime. Like I'm excited about. We went to Rural King on the way here and grabbed a cell camera and a not a battery pack, but a solar panel. So hopefully it lasts until season, but over a mineral site. So I've never had a mineral site in Kansas, so I'm excited to see what it produces.
Yeah. So there is an early season in September.
Yep.
Out here. It coincides with their muzzleloader season as well, right?
Yeah. So September 15th. I think it's the 15th is when it comes in here, but that's bow and muzzleloader season. We don't have muzzleloader tags, but.
Right? And we wouldn't do it anyway. But there is this one mineral site we put is overlooking a bean field that was just recently planted.
Yeah.
And if we do start getting pictures, I mean, our plans to come out in November.
Yeah.
But if that looks like it's hot, we're not opposed to making an early season trip out if there's if there's a booner on there. Man. So, that's what I was telling you is like, man, it's just with life right now, the odds of me getting out here in September are pretty low unless I don't need you.
I know, unless there's like a couple booners running around somewhere.
Yeah.
And this morning we got up. It's a beautiful place that we're at, and we were drinking coffee real early in the morning, getting ready to go out, and then storms rolled in. So we ended up not scouting in the rain. We drove around to some of the weehaws around here, and kind of you can't go in them right now. You got to wait till September to go into the weehaws, but just drove around them and got a feel for them. We actually talked to a local guy too that lived across the road from a weehaw, and talked to him, and he said that, which just as interesting as you talked to him, not me, but the amount of pressure that's been around here the last handful of years has increased drastically on the public land out there.
Yeah, and we for the listeners, that's walk-in access.
Yes, yeah, walk-in access. So that program is essentially like a landowner can get paid by the state to allow public land hunting on their land.
Yep. Yeah, so we drove one today that looked pretty decent.
Yeah,
and there happened to be a guy that lived across the road. Didn't look like he was home, but we thought, let's knock on it and just see what information he has. So I did. Sure enough, he come out and just kind of want to know how hard that property was hit. And he
said there's 4 or 5 trucks there about the time.
Yeah, he said more during gun season, but even the last week of October, first week of November, it gets hit pretty hard.
Yeah.
We're going to be probably mid-November, but it's going to get pressured that week before we were here.
Yeah.
And the other thing you were mentioning is I'd asked him how long you lived there for, and he said 10, 12 years.
Yeah.
And I was just inquiring, has he noticed a change in out-of-staters and since he's lived here? And he was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
crazy?
Definitely a big increase.
So big deer will do.
The secret's out.
Yeah. And then it gets harder to draw. Like,
yep.
We didn't draw last year.
Yep.
I don't know. You wonder though, like it's not really that cheap to come out here and hunt. Like, it's a long ways from the Midwest, and then it's, the tags, $500, something like that, close to that. You wonder too with like the uncertainty of some of the stuff going on, the economy and all that. I wonder if some of this stuff will start to. Nobody's getting a couple $1,000 checks from the government anymore for COVID and that crap that kind of made everything blow up.
Well, just think about. Hopefully, we'll never be in this situation, but
right.
If we didn't have this cabin, running water, beds, showers, to pay those prices, to drive out 13 hours to get here, to stay at a campground in 20-degree temperatures, like I don't know. I'm not sure how motivated I would be.
Yeah, right. That's true. That's why I'm thinking. This is just me thinking too. Is like, I think this stuff will go into cycles. Like in 5 years, what's it going to look like? people are gonna.
It's the craze right now.
It is, and people are gonna get tired of it, or they're gonna get frustrated, and then the people that aren't hardcore, or they're on, it's just a fact. Like a lot of people do, like you get into a hobby, you get out of a hobby, you get into a hobby, you get out of a hobby, and a lot of, like for us, deer hunting has been our life, but like for a lot of people, like it's gonna come and go, and it just got popular.
Well, the first year I came out, before we met this landowner and had all the accommodations we have, it's a commitment to come out here. Vacation time, like you said, the cost, the tags, the whole bit. And I came out, and the first wee I drove up to, there was like not only 4 different vehicles there, but they were like all from different states.
Yeah.
Alabama, Arkansas, Oklahoma. And you take all this time to come out here, and it's like, jeez, it's just kind of deflating.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they're still here.
Yeah.
They're still here.
That's true.
I mean, they're still pulling 180s out of here.
Yeah.
So it's not like it can't happen.
Yeah. That's definitely something you got to think. Like you do have to change your mindset out here a little bit, because you're not back in Michigan, There's actually a bunch of big bucks running around, so there's more to go around.
Yep.
And
not near the deer densities either. I mean, the deer population, honestly, is pretty low.
Yeah.
Compared to what I'm used to.
Yeah. Oh, compared to Michigan.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. But quality is
night and day.
Yeah, second to none as far as compared to Michigan, I guess. Yeah, I'm excited for tomorrow to see what these new properties look like and go from there.
Yeah, so this one tomorrow is interesting. It's 2 hours from base camp.
Yeah, from where we're sitting right now.
Yeah, we've looked at all the aerial images on Onyx. Looks awesome.
Yeah,
but till we get boots on the ground, and it just could look different.
Yeah.
But even if it's good, we're going to have to think about how we're going to hunt it in terms of if we're even going to drive out there too. I mean, it's 4 hours if we go there and back in a day.
Yeah. If it's good hunting, though, it'll be worth it.
Oh, we'll justify it.
Yeah.
We'll justify it.
Oh, yeah. And then Patrick's going to come with us out here this year. He drew with us.
Yep.
And your brother Rick. But Rick's not staying here. He's going to stay in a camper.
He's in a different unit, about an hour and a half away, and I think he's going to pull his camper out. So we'll probably get together at night, just hang out. But,
yeah.
Yep.
Make him come here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, maybe he'll tag out or something, and then he can just come and hang out here.
That's true. Well, this is a secondary unit, though. His primary is the one he's in, and then this one here is a second one. So he potentially could hunt here.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's how Patrick's is the same. He has the same setup as we do.
Yep.
Same units.
Yeah.
Here and there.
But from what I think his is going to be, I don't think he's going to be leaving it. Looks pretty good.
Right. Yeah. Especially if it's just him hunting it.
Yeah. Right.
He can just, if you have a piece of private to yourself, just sit in there until you have one come by you. You know. I was going to ask you, you got your new bow this year.
Yeah.
I haven't really talked to you about it much.
Yeah.
What kind of changes are you making with it?
Well,
first of all,
the brand.
Yeah. First of all,
foremost,
you got like 2 bows in the market that you can shoot.
Yeah.
Your draw length.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've shot Hoyt for my whole life, basically.
Yeah.
And I don't know. You just get used and comfortable with something. It's not like I think it's much more superior because I think all the bows are good.
Right.
But I just like, we'll just try Matthews this year.
Yeah.
So I bought one of their long draw Matthews, and I mean, I've only shot maybe 30 arrows through it so far, but it's a sweet shooter.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, that's what I haven't shot it.
Matthews Lift XD is what I got.
Okay.
Yep. It's maybe 10 feet per second faster than my Hoyt.
Yeah.
But it's 2 inches shorter axle to axle, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it is.
Yeah, it is.
Especially for me because I'm carrying a big old stick around.
Right.
And it's just a smooth shooter.
Yeah.
I'd had that Hoyt for 10, 12 years. It was time for an upgrade,
right?
No matter what it was.
Yeah, it's always cool to get a new bow too.
Oh, love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Well, you were looking at it like months ago, and you even asked me about it. Like, what would you do? I'm like, I don't know. They're a lot of money, And then all of a sudden, one day you just you bought it. You went in there and got it.
I called Josh. I said, "Yep, just left the bow shop." I was like, trying a couple new bows out. I was like, it's a little smoother, a little quieter, but for $1,500 to gain 10 feet per second, I was like, I just couldn't justify it. And then
Yeah.
2 months later,
And I kind of agreed with you. I'm like, yeah, that's a lot of money for almost nothing, almost no benefit.
and then I think I texted you a selfie a couple months later. I was like, what the heck?
Yeah. Oh, my Prime, I got to get it set up. I'm going to do it in the next couple weeks, but I think I'm going to go to a whisker biscuit and then my standard 3-pin fixed pins.
Yep.
And I'm going to shoot I'm probably going to shoot these new. I was going to shoot your 200 grain head, but then you come out with these 150s, 150 wide cuts.
Yep. Wide cut.
And they're double bevel.
Yep.
Show them on here on the thing. But I think that's a sharp looking head. I'm excited about this one. But that's what biggest thing I'm going to change my compound, because I was shooting the 125s, which is right there, but which I had no problems with them at all. But this is that's 1 1/8. This is 1 3/8.
1 3/8. Yep.
Cutting diameter.
Yep.
Oh,
That will be on my arrow tip as well this year.
Yeah.
Yep.
It'll be a great compound bow head. I mean, trad bow too, if you got, whatever, but.
So just the methodology behind that head, obviously a wider cut.
Yeah.
People always want a wider cut, bigger wound channel. Some people, like I'm a big believer in single bevels. I do think that they penetrate better and go around bone and all that. But we do get a lot of requests for double beveled heads, and up until now we didn't have it. So this kind of combines both of those. You get a wider cut, and it's a double bevel for the people that don't buy into the whole single bevel stuff, or maybe
right
are looking for a double bevel.
Yep. Or a wider head.
Yep.
Because these 150, or these 125s, again, I had zero problems with them this year. I loved them. They are small though.
Yep.
So
I shot, I don't know, 1 buck and a few does with those last year. And that buck, I mean, he ran 25 yards.
Same. That's how all my experience was with it.
Yeah. I mean, a wider cut is better, but I mean, obviously placement is king.
Yeah.
But this will give you a little more room for air.
Yeah.
Margin for error.
Right. Yep. It's pointy too.
Everything's the same. It's the same thickness, 0.062, A2 tool steel, 58 rod. Everything's the same.
Just
double bevel and a wider cut.
So is that the 200 grain head with vents in it?
No.
Not?
No.
Okay, it's not. It's a whole different.
The 200 is a full 1.5 inches.
Okay. This is 200. No,
that's another 150.
That's just the 150.
Yeah, that's a single bevel 150.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a good seller. I like it a lot. Could you guys get this into 125, or was the integrity too?
We could not. We had to, to get down to that weight, you got to lose something. Yeah. So we could not maintain structural integrity and yet maintain 125 grain tolerance and get that width.
Yeah.
Yeah. Couldn't do it.
Yeah.
You got to give up something to get something.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
And honestly, if you held that 150 in your hand and the 125 in the other,
you're not gonna.
I'm not even sure if you'd tell a difference.
No.
Yep.
I don't think you'd tell a difference shooting them either.
No.
Out past an ethical range for me. At least.
I'm a little biased, but because I asked for your unbiased opinion when you first saw those.
Yeah.
Because I think they're gonna be nasty.
Yeah.
And I know you'd be honest with me.
Yeah. I was shocked when I saw, because I saw pictures of it just from you thing, but I grabbed it when I saw it. I'm like, oh, dude, that is what you need right there. I like it. I like it a lot. It's going to zip through things. So what made you guys go with just your initial product was just single bevel? Why'd you guys do that?
Well, I mean, there was a little bit of a craze there for single bevel for a while, and I do believe in it. I mean, the penetration I've seen from those, I mean, they zip through deer. Mm-hmm. If you have the right arrow set up and weight and all that stuff, I mean, any broadhead is gonna. But I mean, if you hit bone, they are gonna twist around it. Mm-hmm.
So is the theory that it kind of ricochets off the bone?
Yep.
Versus this would kind of stick into it.
Yep. And that chisel tip obviously helps too.
Because it busted or
yeah.
Yeah. This is a bad example because this is not a finished product.
It's not finished, yeah.
But is this one finished?
No, that one's not finished either.
Okay.
It's CNC, but it's not sharpened yet. That's just a prototype.
Yeah. It's still actually kind of sharp.
And these are not available yet, by the way. I
Right.
should probably put that caveat out
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah.
It will
But-
be in time for the season,
Right.
but
You
if
guys
you
are-
see this and look on the website, you're not going to find them yet.
Yeah, it's but you think you'll have them in time for
For sure. Yes. They're going through machining right now.
Mm-hmm. So if it's something you're interested in, you're tuning your bow, tune it for a 150 grain head,
We put a large order in, so I hope you guys like them.
and then you order these whenever the time comes.
Yep.
What tolerances do you guys have on these? Like what? Do you know like industry standards and compared to what you guys have? Industry standards, like when I'm talking about like
You talking about weights?
no, like how straight it is. Because that's what's real important with like accuracy and how like balanced and all that it is.
I mean, they're all spun before they get shipped out
Okay.
just to test for that. But I mean, the machining process, I mean, we have fixtures and everything
Okay.
when they go in the CNC. So it means the same cut every single time.
Exactly the same.
Yeah. Yep. And I personally spin those too before we ship anything out.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yep.
So if one's wobbly, you can complain to Dave about
Yeah. We've never had a return product yet.
Yeah.
And we're going on year 4.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's good. Yeah, I'm a big fan of them. Like I said, 2 years ago, I had mechanicals and I had fixed blades I had mechanicals and I had I think I had the 120, the 150 in the quiver, and yeah, after this hunting with them solely this year, I love them. So just the simplicity of fixed blade and just one less thing that could go wrong. And I know that the guys that like mechanicals, and I'm one of those guys, I like them, but like it's a fact that it is something else that can go wrong.
Yeah. So we're going to do, hopefully yet this summer, I want to do a study because my theory is, I think I've talked about this before. If you look at kinetic energy, you're looking at the weight of the arrow plus the speed, and there's a formula to get your kinetic energy, right?
Yeah.
Well, in theory, if you do that with a same weighted head for a fixed versus mechanical, it's going to be the same,
Yeah.
right? But that's at impact.
Yeah.
So that's when it hits the animal.
See
I
what
have
comes after.
belief that when those blades deploy on a mechanical broadhead, you lose energy. Where on a fixed, it cut on contact and it carries that momentum through the animal.
Yeah.
So what I want to do, and I've got a couple ideas how I want to do this, but is set up a chronograph in front of the target, maybe like a big brisket or something, right? But of flesh, of meat, and then have a chronograph on the back end and test the speeds of the fixed going
Coming
through
through
an
and
entry or an
coming out.
exit, and then the same with and compare them. I think that'd be a good test.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Yep.
I mean, I would think that something like this is going to be better off, but
It's gonna have to be the same cutting diameter, so
right,
everything is equal
right.
to not skew the results. But
Well, the mechanical, whether it's those rear deploying ones or whatever, it's still going to have, those moving parts are going to have to take some kind of energy away from the arrow going through something.
because whenever I've shot in fixed or mechanical broadheads, like you can hear that impact of it hit the deer. You can hear that,
Yeah.
right?
Thunk. Yeah.
And I think that's the blades when they deploy.
Yeah.
With these, it doesn't make that sound. It just slices right through.
And this little thing here, and this is not my theory. It's what I've heard people say this, and I think it's right. Is like, dude, this thing goes through them so fast they have no idea. The Iowa buck I shot ran 30 yards and was just like, what the heck was that? And then he fell over dead. And the same with the doe I shot with him. I was just like, wow, they seem to not know what the heck happened to them. It's like a little needle going through them. Not a needle, but
yeah. And it's not exclusive to Razor. I mean, do I believe in Razor? Of course. But fixed blade broadheads, I don't think they don't feel that deployment of the heads either. I think they hear the sound of the bow, and that's why they run.
They probably hear the arrow too.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if they even feel the impact.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never had an arrow shot through me.
Right.
I'm sure
we're
feel
theorizing, but
yeah.
but then they run off and they're like, "What?" And then they
in
get
the
dizzy
world?
and down they go.
Yeah, and you got to remember too, we're so comfortable and nothing ever bad really. I mean, not nothing, but rarely do we ever get actual hurt as human beings. You know, they probably have something bad happen to them almost every day.
Yeah.
Where something's poking them or something's prodding them or whatever, getting bit by a rattlesnake out here.
Jeez. We both had snake boots on today.
Yeah, they killed a pretty good sized prairie rattler on the property we were scouting today.
Well, they killed it about a month ago, but
Yeah.
it was at the property we were scouting.
Yeah.
And it was hard to tell from the picture, but that thing had been all of 3 feet.
Yeah, it was a pretty big one, it seemed like. It's pretty funny.
Jeez.
It's we had pretty different approaches to snakes around here from Dick to Terry.
Mm-hmm.
Terry was like, "No, we never see them." He's like, "I don't." They killed that one. We never see them. And then Dick was just like, "They're everywhere."
Yeah.
But come to find out, Dick is like terrified of snakes.
Yeah.
So that's probably why he was saying. I was thinking that too. I'm like, oh, Dick was like pretty concerned. He was kind of looking at your snake gator.
Oh, he
too.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was like, well, those will stop penetration from a snake, huh? And he was like, you want to pick up a pair. But when Terry said that they seen that one by the trail there a month ago, he said Dick left.
Yeah, he wouldn't go back.
He just left. He went home, and Terry got a shovel and took care of it. But Dick didn't even want to be around it.
So his perception, but maybe Dick probably is out. He's more of an outdoorsy guy, like hunting and stuff.
Yeah.
Like Terry. So maybe he's just out. Maybe he's out and about and has seen more than Terry. But
I probably err more on the side of Dick because I hate.
I don't want to really step on one.
Like today, you were in front sometimes. I was in front sometimes. But when I was in front, I was looking down.
Yeah.
Each step.
Yeah. You don't think about that in Kansas, and I guess in November you probably don't have to really worry about it.
Later in the year, yeah,
But
right.
Right now,
Yeah.
and we came out here 2 summers ago, and we didn't really. I don't think we were thinking about snakes, were we?
I had those snake boots.
Did you?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't think you brought yours though.
I don't remember doing it,
I don't think you did.
but
Because there's also
copperheads,
as well.
water moccasins too. But
Yep.
yeah.
We got to tell the story of you seen that shed today.
Oh yeah. Do you want to tell it?
You saw it, so
All right,
you better
so-
tell it.
We were driving the side by side. Terry let us borrow a side by side, and we're driving through this. It's a field that hasn't been planted yet, but there's a lot of voluntary beans
Yep.
in the field. That's, I don't know, maybe a foot tall. And I'm driving through there, and in my mind, I'm thinking, man, there could be a shed around here, And then I tell Dave, I said, we could see a shed in here, and I'm not kidding you. Like my next, it was. I bet we could see a shed right here. Oh, there's one right there. And like I looked to my left as I was saying that, and there was a shed antler laying in the beans right there.
See, I've got a theory about this because we've got a friendship group base that you always find more sheds than anyone. You seem to get lucky with sheds.
Okay.
And I think I found out what happened today and how that works. I think you spot them,
Yeah.
and then you make up this line about what you did today.
Whether I do or not, I still.
And you trick us when in fact you did see it before.
Well, even if I did that, I've still found it.
That's true.
I didn't do that, but it was insane. I just, once you get good at it, and I don't know how I got good at it, probably just spending way too much time doing it in my 20s.
Your eyes are trained.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, this is an area where a shed could be laying. For whatever reason, like I felt like I'm like, oh, we're right behind this building, which was kind of hidden from the road a little bit, and I don't know, I just seemed like a place a shed be laying.
You didn't
There
even
was one.
take a breath before you finished that sentence, and
I know, it
you
was
spotted
crazy.
it.
It was crazy, which I know that's why I thought, like I was like, oh, he probably thought I was setting that up, but
Was that from last year? Or do you think that'd been there for a couple years?
probably 2 years. It was pretty mangled up.
Yeah,
But if it's around still, it's gonna be a dandy
for sure.
because I think it was a 5-point side.
Because that field wasn't disc; they just drilled right into it.
Yeah.
So it could have been there and wouldn't have been harmed by
Yeah.
by a disc.
Yeah, it looked like maybe. It was broken up though.
Yeah, because if it was this year's, it would have only been there for a few months,
it
and it
would-
was definitely older than
Yeah, it was
that.
definitely older than that.
Yeah.
It wasn't this year's shed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like that property could surprise me because whenever we got there, I was underwhelmed by it a little bit. I was like, man, this doesn't seem that good now. But then, like, there was a lot of deer tracks along the woods, and the woods is what, 10 yards wide in most places along the river. It goes along the river.
Butts up to river bottom.
Yeah. But
And the bedding is probably on the other side of the
Yeah.
river.
mhm.
So they'd have to cross the river to get to us, most
Yeah.
likely. I mean, they could bed on that side, but the primary bedding looked like you have to be on the other side.
Yeah. And by November, the beans will be off.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
uh,
But that spot did have a 220-inch animal on it back in the day.
that's where they killed that big one at.
Yep.
The big one we were talking about earlier in the show.
And then the other piece we scouted today had a 193 shot 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So very current.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they've shot plenty of 50s and 60s and stuff
Yeah.
over the years here too.
Dick found a 150 or 160 inch deadhead, he said.
Yeah.
They won't care if I tell them about them selling them.
I don't think so.
So he went to. I want to hear what you guys think about this, but in the comment section, he went. He was selling some farm equipment to a guy that bought a farm around here, and the guy was going to use it for food plotting.
Yep.
And then Dick, he has his barns full of like deadheads and stuff, just stuff they find laying around the farms here. And the guy bought 2 deadheads off of him for $1,300 to hang in his hunting shack.
Yeah, he's telling us this story, and he said he sold them. He didn't tell us the amount yet.
No,
He just continued on with the story, and I wasn't going to ask what he sold them for.
No.
It's none of my business. But in my mind, I was thinking,
maybe a couple hundred.
yeah, a couple $100, whatever. And he continues on, and he circled back, and he said, he gave me $1,300. I was like, what? $1,300?
Sounds like a guy with too much money.
Jeez.
I don't know. Especially for me as a deer hunter, other people's crap like that's worthless to me. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. It's weird as a deer hunter to buy someone else's deadheads for that much money. But I don't know. What, to each their own. I'm not trying to be judgmental or anything. But
No, but
it's weird.
so this guy probably hangs this on his wall because he wanted it for decoration, right? So like when guests come over, like how's that story go?
I don't know.
I shot that,
Yeah.
or I just bought this off a rancher, or
Yeah.
like you just, not that it matters, but
No.
it's an expensive piece of artwork.
Yeah. For Dick just to pick it up out here in the pasture,
Dick made out.
Yeah.
Big time.
He did pretty good with
Yeah.
that one.
You should see what you get for that one you found out here a couple years ago.
Yeah.
That was
I should have brought it over and had that guy go into that guy's house.
150, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I would definitely sell it for $650.
Oh, jeez.
If anybody's interested.
Yeah, put in the comments.
I'll box it up and ship it to you. for
Yeah,
that.
free shipping.
Free shipping. It's a big one. But I don't know.
We I didn't quite have the same motivation coming out here this year just because of what happened 2 years ago with us losing that property. And even this fall, like you and I have talked about 1,000 times, I don't know if we'll ever have a piece of property like that the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
It was that good.
Yeah.
But with that being said, like it can still happen here.
Oh yeah. And the thing is like
It's still Kansas.
it is, and that's what we keep bragging about this property, and the hunt in total was really fun. But like we didn't either one. I mean, you shot a pretty nice one. I did not. I shot a dink, but like, they weren't like even your buck. Like most people aren't going to shoot that in Kansas. Like people around here, I mean, out of staters for sure. But it's like none of us like broke a record out there or anything. It just was. It was awesome.
Well, we've seen way bigger ones.
Oh yeah.
You more than me.
Well, because I hunted longer.
Yeah.
You tagged out like day 2.
And just the buck activity and the rut was just
constant awesomeness.
that whole week was just unbelievable.
Yeah.
But with that being said, it's kind of like a movie or something you have low expectations for, and
That's probably
they're
what it was.
exceeded. So I'm
Yeah.
kind of hoping, like I'm still excited about coming out here.
Oh yeah,
for sure,
and we'll definitely be come November.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, in that property tomorrow might knock our socks off. I mean, I have no idea.
Hope so. It's hard for me to get like this is like we said earlier, just the time frame we could get out here. But it is hard for me to get motivated this time of year to go out and do a bunch of deer hunting stuff. It's just hard. It's just nasty.
Well, we talked about that. I got that brand new bow,
Yeah.
and I've looked at it 100 times sitting on my bow case.
Yeah, I know.
Think I'm going to pull it out and shoot it, and there it sits.
Yeah.
So 90-degree days to come out here and scout.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ticks, snakes.
Snakes, chiggers.
If we didn't have that side-by-side today,
Oh, tomorrow's going to be
there's no way we could have done what we did today.
Tomorrow's going to be kind of rough. But today we kind of got screwed by the weather because it rained until like 10:30.
Yep.
So we didn't really get the good part of the morning when it was cool. We didn't really get to go scouting on foot at least. So we were pretty efficient with that side by side, which was good. But tomorrow we won't have that. We don't think, at least.
No. Even earlier before we started recording, we talked about we might just be doing some drive-bys tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah, which is all you really need. I mean, the properties none of them are gigantic, are they, or anything? Like, if you can see them from the road, you can.
Yeah. But even we kind of just said, if it's 95, we brought 12 cameras with us.
Something like that.
We hung 2 today.
Yeah.
I just don't see us hanging like 8 cameras tomorrow.
No. Well, I mean, we just brought an excess amount. I just had them laying around. I just threw them in the tote, had them,
Yeah.
brought them with me. Because I just brought my camera tote. That's all I did.
But this guy's got 10 different parcels.
Right.
That
Some
we
of them
can
are probably
hunt.
irrelevant, though.
Yeah, probably. Some are just field.
Just pastures.
Right.
Without any trees or anything
Right.
on them.
But the other ones, I don't know how far we're going to be able to drive in there, without a side-by-side.
Yeah.
So to go 300 yards in a 95-degree heat to hang a camera,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like we might do it once or twice and then
Right. And then be like,
burned
okay.
out. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially when it gets to be like 1 o'clock, it's like it's hard. The heat out here is different too. It's pretty muggy and right now out here.
And we won't be able to come back to the cabin to shower.
No, we got to go home tomorrow night.
We don't have facilities tomorrow.
This more trip was just to make sure we knew what we were getting into.
Yeah.
You hate to, spend time during the hunt trying to just even find the properties and stuff.
Yes. Just familiarize yourself with the surroundings.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So if nothing else, that will be beneficial.
And an example of that, this is not going to be the case tomorrow because he don't have cattle, but there are some WIAs out here that look awesome.
Yeah.
On an aerial.
Yeah.
And you drive out there and it's all cattle.
Yeah.
So you kind of need to do a drive-by just to see.
Right.
Not say there can't be deer out there, but
right.
I get a little.
You want to go to the best ones.
Yeah.
You don't want to spend your time while you're hunting like just driving around to ones that are trash.
Right.
So you want to be efficient during your time here.
Yeah. But the cows just graze everything down, so there's really no cover or feed for the deer, even if they were out there with the cows.
Right. Which, that's arguable. I've heard people say that they don't care to mingle with cows, and I've heard people say they hate cows. So who knows? It probably depends on the deer.
Well, cows are curious too. Even today, they were following us around a little bit.
Oh yeah.
So like they're gonna see you walking out to your stand. Like, are they gonna follow you? Yeah,
probably.
Right.
They're gonna show up sometime.
Based on what I saw today, they would.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
But they might come over for 20 minutes and then go on their business. Yeah.
Yeah. Move on. I don't know. I was going to talk to you about changing gears from Kansas, but like this thing in Michigan right now where they're talking about allowing bait again with the stipulation of a tag you have to buy or permit. You're pretty involved with, like, you go to meetings and whatnot in Michigan for
Natural Resource Commission.
Yeah. What's the story on that? Do you really know, or what's going on with it?
So I don't think it's unique to Michigan, first of all, right? Isn't this going on in other states
Tennessee
as well?
does it. Alabama does it.
So we've had a non-baiting restriction for quite a while in Michigan once CWD started creeping up. Made sense.
Yeah.
So there's a lack of funding within the DNR right now. So to me, albeit not knowing all the facts, it looks like a money grab to me.
Yeah.
because their position from early on was essentially, we're going to stop the baiting because it brings deer in together and spreads disease. Like,
Right.
if that's your argument, now you can't say, but if you pay us $20, it's
$20.
it's fine.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
So it looks like a money grab because they were also trying to raise license fees this year. And the public has kind of come out against it.
Okay.
You know, of course, right? They don't want license fees to go up. So this, again, to me, just looks like a money grab.
You think it's going to pass?
I don't know if it's a Natural Resource Commission vote or if it has to go through the legislature. I'm not sure. If it's an NRC vote, I would say no. If it goes to the legislature, I would say
Yeah.
yeah.
The legislature is some of the people you guys have problems with, right? Is that who you kind of went to meetings with to talk about some of the unhappiness around?
No, that's the commission.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the commission.
Dave's
So
very
we-
outspoken in the
Yeah.
in the Michigan world of hunting.
Yeah. There are, just like most groups, there are several like phenomenal commissioners,
Yeah.
and then you've got some awful ones.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've had a few spats with some of those over the years.
You can, they're public record, right? You can watch them if you want, but that's good that you do that, though. Not very many people do that. I mean, compared to the population of hunters versus how many people attend meetings, it's not very great.
Yeah, and I don't know. Do most states have? I know some do. Like the commission, like what's Indiana like? Is it similar where they have a commission, or can the DNR just make up their own rules, or do they have a governing body that?
I've never seen meetings and stuff with the commission like that.
So
Public commission meetings.
I know we're not unique to it, but I
No.
don't think all states have it.
Yeah.
So essentially, the DNR comes out and they have recommendations that they can give on harvest for fishing and land acquisition, hunting, season, all this stuff.
Yeah.
And then in Michigan's case, there's a Natural Resource Commission that's 7 members, and then they vote on those recommendations. Very often, they'll follow suit of the DNR's recommendations,
Right.
but not always.
Gotcha.
But it's a simple majority, so if they get 4 votes out of the 7,
Yeah.
it passes.
Yeah. Indiana historically has been very, like, I think they've done a very good job. And like some of the stuff that we've changed, I think a lot of hunters probably selfishly would not have approved of. Like, for example, going from $2 to $1. A lot of people, I guarantee, I was kind of young when this happened, but like I'm sure that a lot of hunters did not like that new rule because, well, you know, it'd probably be the same in Michigan if they went from like telling you, okay, all of a sudden you can only shoot $1. There'd probably be a lot of hunters that weren't happy about that. Maybe I'm wrong.
Depends on what side of the argument you're on.
Exactly, but like, they made some good. I think Indiana's done some really good things in their management. Now, recently, some of the stuff has been a little bit, I don't know about, but also they've done some good things. Like they took away a doe season that we had. So they're like, it seems like Indiana is they manage their wildlife based on the needs instead of based on like politics. I guess. Because like we took that doe season away because I don't think we have enough does. And as soon as I started thinking that, boom, the doe season went away.
Yeah.
So I think they do a pretty good job in Indiana overall. But we're also, I mean, not to bash on Michigan, but like we're a pretty right wing state that, and a lot of that, in that world of politics, a lot of times the right side is the hunters and stuff are more on that side where follows that suit. Whereas in Michigan, you guys don't have dove season, you don't have your coyote seasons are constantly getting like we don't have that in Indiana.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Which is kind of sad because you'd like to think, and I know it's impossible in this world that we live in, that politics shouldn't be part of wildlife. Mm-hmm. You'd like to think that in an ideal world, but obviously we know that it is.
Oh yeah.
What frustrates me, and you see it time and time and time again, is that when these votes and recommendations come up, it should be pretty simple. What is best for the resource?
Exactly. It shouldn't even be like a thought about it.
Yeah.
really.
What's best for the resource?
Yeah.
Even if that's not my personal choice.
Right.
You know, I'm a trout fisherman, and the bag limit they're proposing goes from 2 to 1.
Yeah.
Well, I'd rather keep catching 2, but I know in the best interest of wildlife it would be 1.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just making this up.
Sure.
You do what's best for the resource, not what you personally want. The bigger one is these commissioners are all from various parts of the state.
Yeah.
We got some from the Upper Peninsula, so I get it, right? You want to have some from different areas of the state. Well, they have constituents that they have in their districts, even though they're not voted in, they're appointed by the governor.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like you have to satisfy your constituents because they're not voting for you to get you in that position.
Right.
You're appointed by the governor. But when certain topics come up that are highly divisive, they get feedback and phone calls just like a regular politician would. So instead of doing what's best for the resource all too often, they'll do what is best for their constituents because they don't want to hear bad feedback, nasty emails.
I've talked to some conservation officers in Indiana, and they've had some problems with some of the stuff that's been going on their end of things. So, maybe that could just be resources too, because I think we have a lack of, problem with conservation officers. And as far as numbers of them, I don't think we have enough to cover the areas that they need to cover and all that. But, I don't know.
Politics is in everything.
It is
these
sad
days.
too.
It is sad.
Well, and it's so profitable now too. Like everybody makes it's so emotional. I mean, it's most like a lot of people, it's their identity. So it's
And you see this often on our commission that if you look at their bios, it says what aisle side they're on. So you know if they're Democrat or Republican.
Yeah.
And all too often they're party line votes on these wildlife issues. Like it's 4-3 and it's straight party line votes.
Yeah. And they're just doing it because of what their title is behind their
100%.
name. Not because what they actually think or what's good. It's just like, okay, this is what
100%.
a Democrat would do. This is what a Republican would do.
Yep.
Not this is what we need to do for the wildlife.
Yep.
It's horrible.
Or a hot topic might have 30 people might come in that month.
Yeah.
And talk on because there's public comments.
Right.
Time period.
Mm-hmm.
So they're whether it's bear regulations or deer whatever it is, and you might have very elegant speakers that come up there and do a good job at the podium talking, right?
Right, like Dave.
Not like me. But they're very influenced by that. And again, I know I'm a very simplistic person when it comes to a lot of things, but what is best for the resource? If you just keep that as your North Star,
right,
it'd solve a lot of issues.
Yeah. I mean, look at social media right now with this public land thing that's in the big, beautiful bill. Like politics is all over hunting right now.
Yep.
Which is, it is what it is, I guess. But then you got all this hate too that comes from it. Like some people that, there's a big hate for meat eater right now because of something they did involving it. I don't even know what that is, but I just see on Facebook people bashing Steve Rinella for something, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, meat eater's a Democrat. It's like, well, wait a minute now.
Yeah.
Like maybe they are, maybe they aren't, but why do we gotta?
But that's what it is. So if you don't agree 100% with everything of that president or politician you like, then you're a traitor,
right,
or whatever it is.
Yeah, and
because clearly Stephen Rinella leans to the right.
It seems
I've got to believe, right?
Yeah, it seems that way. But I don't know. I don't look into it.
That'd be my guess. I'd be shocked if he wasn't.
Right.
But because of what he does for a living, if he's going to oppose the sell-off of public lands,
yeah, he's not doing that.
Now he's going to be accused of being a Democrat.
Right. Right. And it's not even that. It's something to do with the oil and gas. I don't know what it was.
I didn't see. What
I think maybe
about,
and dude, this is me probably lying because I don't exactly know what's going on. But I think it had something to do with they opposed the public land sell-off, but they also opposed some kind of an oil and gas thing. like development of something like that. So people got upset about that.
And a lot of these are BLM properties out west, if I recall, right?
Yeah, there are 11 states out there that is potentially sold, big or up for sale.
Do you recall how many acres it was?
3 million.
3 million acres. Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah. So that's the old proposal. So they proposed something initially. They took it out because of the outreach. Then of course, they revise these things every freaking other day. But like, they revised it and they put that 3 million acre in there. And it was is in the name of housing. They were going to do better housing for America. So where their theory, what they told people was, we're going to sell off public land that's near development areas to expand housing, so we have better affordable housing for America. Affordable housing. Okay, the whole not 1 acre sold of public land, that got heard, revised it again. Well, they didn't take it out. They just reduced it to 1 million acres or whatever it was. So now we're all kind of still fighting to get it out of there completely.
And this is the stuff, you look at that bill, and I don't know all the intricacies of it. I don't even know if the people voting on it know all the intricacies of it.
Probably not.
Right? Because it's probably a stack that thick. But like fund the government, fund the military, money for the wall, ICE agents, whatever.
Yeah.
Sale of public land, I don't know. That just don't seem like it should be part of that bill.
Yeah, I know. That's what it's in there. I mean, that's what the uproar is. I think it'll eventually get taken out. I think the backlash will be harsh enough. I hope, but yeah, it's weird. And like, it's all vaguely written is another big issue. It's like, it's a million. It's like 1 point something million acres, near developed areas. And they're like, okay, what's that mean? That could be anything, This could be a developed area. Oh, there's houses here, So
that's very subjective.
Yes. It's not like within 30 miles of Denver. Like, it's not that. It's just developed areas.
Yeah.
Which there's not very many places in the U.S. that is not developed,
That's very subjective.
Yeah.
If you're going to be selling off 3 million acres of public land, it needs to be very specific and defined on exactly what that is.
Like, maybe even those specific parcels should be thought about before we go ahead and, you know what I mean? If they want to do that. But again, it's just real shady. It just feels like something that, and then like you got, I heard this on a podcast. I can't remember which one it was now, but maybe it was a Facebook post too about like BlackRock and some of the investments, they own most of the, so they're kind of thinking that maybe that's going to just go to them and the way it's written, but I don't know. I haven't looked into this new I haven't looked at this new revised bill yet.
The ones
I just heard Cameron Haynes on social media again saying it's still not great.
And are these private equity firms the ones that are also donating to the politicians that might potentially be voting for it? I mean, that's the
the follow the money, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The world is insane right now.
I don't know enough about that bill and the public land stuff specifically. Either. So my knee-jerk reaction is to be against it, right? Because the more public land, the better.
Yeah.
But I'll need to look into it more to be educated.
People that I kind of, in the industry kind of think that they would know about it. It seems like they are very against it. So like Aaron Warbritton, Cameron Haynes, oh man, I feel bad for forgetting this guy's name because he's been one of the forefront guys in it. But he has a show called Fresh Tracks. Randy Newberg.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, they've all been pretty vocal about it. What was frustrating was, I think what everybody's really frustrated with is it was in there, they took it out, and then they try to sneak it back in.
Yep. At the 11th hour.
Yes, exactly. So that's what the biggest frustration is with everybody is that we had this done and now it's back.
And I believe the vote on that is supposed to be like next week.
Probably so. Yeah, it's coming.
That's what they were shooting for. I think 4th of July was kind of what they were shooting for.
Yeah. And then we got all these others, not that not that these are distractions per se, but like it's like you don't even know where to look right now. You got all this stuff in Iran and Israel, and then this big beautiful bill coming up, and it's like, golly.
And I like hunting no matter what, but I think that's why I like it so much. Is when you're out in the tree, you look at, like I don't think about any of this stuff.
I know.
I just think about the peacefulness of it. If my phone works and has cell coverage, great. If it don't, fine.
Yeah.
But you're just at peace with the world and you don't think about all this stuff.
And I have some buddies that get super emotional about this stuff, like almost consumes their lives. More than one. And at the end of the day, like, we can write our senator, make a Facebook post, whatever. But it's like, there's not a whole lot we can do, especially with the war stuff, like with Israel and like people worrying about that. It's like at the end of the day, it's like I don't know how much good it does for you to worry to death about it because you can't really change anything.
Doesn't do any good. I mean, it's hard to say that because if you care about it, you can't stop thinking about it. But at the end of the day, it's
right.
You can't do anything about it.
Yeah, you worrying about it's not doing anything.
No.
You just got to trust Jesus is in control of that kind of stuff, and what's going to happen is going to happen, and life will go on or it won't.
Easier said than done, but
it is. Yeah,
it's still a true statement.
Yeah, but you can definitely that's a little bit comforting because man, people
more than a little bit.
People they get emotional about that stuff, and some of it is media driven. If you look at the headlines right now, they're horrible. I mean, it should be a war crime. Some of the stuff people are putting on, on the news right now. Just like you have some extreme headline about like President Trump bombs this and that, and then it comes to find out it's just like him saying the F word.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you probably shouldn't word it that because some people aren't going to read the article. They're going to be, oh, we bombed him again. And then they're going to not sleep at night or they're going to have a freaking heart attack because they think President Trump drops another bomb or whatever. That's just an example. There's been worse ones I've seen. But I saw a headline. It was President Trump drops another bomb on Israel or on Iran. I'm like, what the frick, And then I got to reading. It was about him dropping the F-bomb.
Yeah. Right. Oh.
And I was like, come on. Like you're going to have some middle-aged woman read this and not dig any deeper into this. And now she's going to go and have anxiety attacks because of it,
Just read the headline.
Yeah. Or the left wing, that left wing demographic is going to blow up again. It's like, just calm down. Like it's not, he said the F word.
And it goes both ways.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It definitely goes both ways.
Yeah. No, this was a right-leaning publication that made the article.
Right.
And I was just like, we don't need to do that. Like
right.
That shouldn't be legal when it's come to serious situations like that. Like if you want to talk about transgenders or like whatever, but like whenever it comes to war and like people actually dying because of this stuff, like I feel like there should be some kind of regulation a little bit on how I don't know how you would do that.
You start limiting free speech though.
I know.
You get big problems.
I know.
Is it free speech or not?
That's right. That's true. Yeah.
Because you start putting restrictions on some stuff, then they're going to start putting it on others, and now we're not free speech anymore.
I wish people weren't idiots is what I wish it was.
I know.
That's what the solution is.
But as much as you distree with that, I think
no, you're right.
That's what separates us from the rest of the world.
I want to be able to say what I want to say too.
Yep.
So it's just like, what are people thinking? And are we that dang hungry for clicks and likes that we, I don't know.
That community notes on Twitter, I don't know if you follow Twitter at all, but that's been a nice addition because you could put anything out there on Twitter that you wanted and people would take it as a gospel. And now there's a section in this community notes where, like they might play a video of someone get assassinated in a country, right? Because in a war.
Right.
And then they'll have a community note that was from 5 years ago. Yes. That had nothing to do with this war. Yeah. It just kind of sets the record straight.
All right. That is a good idea. I don't have X, I guess is what it's called now.
But yeah. But to your point, like a New York Times headline that had that F-bomb stuff.
Right.
There's no secondary source to see that.
Right. You had to read
You'd have to read the article. Yeah.
Yeah. I've been a little frustrated with that in the media lately. I mean, it's been like that for years now, but just with the war stuff, it just seems like you shouldn't do that. You should just you should be straight facts and no manipulation by the media. But
There's only 3 wars going on right now.
that's it. Something in our window making noise.
June bug, I think.
Is that what all it is? Yeah. Well, hopefully it all works out and things calm down, but that's to be seen.
Covered a lot of ground tonight, didn't we?
We went from one thing.
It wasn't just hunting, was
no,
it?
No, well, it's just pretty standard for this show. But, yeah, this next little bit of time is going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to deer season for a lot of reasons. Some time will pass since all this stuff has happened, and I'm already tired of summer. To be honest with you, I get tired of the heat pretty fast.
I'll be ready for fall.
Yeah. Yep. Well, there was something else I was going to talk to you about. You said something that sparked the thought in my mind, and it was about forward-facing sonar. You were talking about trout fishing. What was oh, here's something to think about. And this was from I have forward-facing sonar on my boat, but Steve had a debate on his podcast, Steve Rinella, about if forward-facing sonar is good for fishing or not. It isn't, whatever. You can go watch the episode, but they made a point like that cat's kind of already out of the bag, like that technology, just like cell cameras are, right? And they made the point like, okay, like muskie out in the lakes, that used to be something really hard to catch. Now people are catching 10 of them a day, with forward-facing sonar. Going out there, it's real easy to see a muskie. They spin, they're big. You can find them on that forward-facing sonar. Throw something in front of them, and they bite it. But and they're like, made the point like, okay, so now you used to be able to keep 5 of those fish to eat. Now you can only keep 2 because everybody's getting good at catching them. So you can go out to catch them still, but our utilization of that resource is going to be diminished because, okay, instead of if there's 100 anglers out there, used to, 5% of them would catch a limit. Now 80% are catching a limit. So we're going to have to make that limit smaller. So we're still utilizing that. And I wonder if that's like what hunting will turn into one day with, like live tracking cell cameras. We got drones. You wonder like if that'll happen one day,
I think about this a lot.
Yeah,
I do. And I don't even have a right answer for it.
I don't either. I'm just
because like one side of me says if it's legal, which all that stuff is, depending on the state you live in, you should be able to do it.
Yeah.
And you should. We talked about what's best for the resource earlier.
Right.
So now you start talking about that equation, right? If you talk about archery, right, you got compound shooters that will knock on the crossbow shooters.
Yeah.
But then the traditional hunters could knock on the compound shooters.
Yeah.
So like it never ends.
Right.
The forward-facing sonar, okay, for fishing. Well, are Vexilars okay?
Yeah.
Or like where do you draw the line in terms
Yeah.
of some technology, but it's too much?
Right.
I mean, when you go ice fishing, and I've done this myself, you drill a hole, put your Vexilar in there, you look, nope, no fish.
Yeah.
Walk, drill another hole. Nope. You just drill 50
Right.
holes.
Which is
until
a camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But back in the day, prior to that, you'd have fished a couple
Yeah.
holes. There ain't no fish in this lake,
Right.
and and you leave.
Right.
So I don't know what the fix is, though.
Let me ask you this. Okay. Let's say in 10 years, cell cameras get so good, they incorporate AI in it. Somehow they can figure out, where that buck is. You get a trail camera picture on the buck. It's like, okay, it's going to go to this bed tonight. I don't know how it would do that,
Right.
but who knows? And the DNR decides like, hey, since we can do that in Michigan, you can only kill 1 buck a year now, because everybody's getting so efficient with this new technology. Would you rather them do that or get rid of the technology and keep it the way it was?
Put me in the spot here. I think you almost have to get rid of the technology
Yeah.
because I think people are just going to abuse it if they have it, even if
Right.
there's laws against it.
Right. Yeah.
Take drones, for example. I know in Michigan you can't fly drones to scout for deer,
Right.
but I know it happens.
Yeah, sure.
So I think if the technology is there, it's going to be
Yeah.
abused.
It's like they gave this example on the Meteor podcast I listened to. It's like you have a herd of elk. There's 100 elk on this mountain, and they usually give away. They need to kill 10% of them, and you got a 10% success rate. So they give away 100 tags, so that you get 10 bulls or elk killed. But then all of a sudden, all this technology comes into play. You're allowed to do anything you want. You can put a gun on a drone and go over and shoot them, And then all of a sudden, your success rate jumps up to 90%. So instead of having 100 tags and 100 guys out there, they ended up, just issuing 11 tags or 12 tags, whatever and then you got now you got less opportunity because there's more technology involved.
Yep.
Or do you just make all that stuff illegal or take it away? I don't know.
I think once you legalize it, it's so hard to rein it back in.
Yeah. Yeah. But they do it. Kansas.
With the public land trail cameras.
Yeah. They do it all the time.
Yeah.
And I think at some point we have to be I hear that argument a lot. Once it's gone, or once it's out there, it's hard to pull back in. It's or just grow a pair of balls and take it out, and you're going to have backlash. So it goes back to your point. What's best for the resource?
But opportunity, that is a big buzzword, I guess, discussed at
Yeah.
the Natural Resource Commissions.
Right.
They will, when proposals come up, they will talk about lack of opportunity or more opportunity for the public to participate in X activity.
Yeah.
And I think the point you made is a good one. If we get so efficient that just use the elk one, right?
Yeah.
It's a great one. You got all these people that are applying that have drawn tags in the past, but now since so many elk are being killed, they're not giving as many tags away.
Yeah.
Well, now there's lack of opportunity. There was a balance there.
I know.
This stuff's so hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
From an individual purpose, though, because you can't control the masses.
Mm-hmm.
So even if that technology is approved in your area, you do ultimately have to make that choice for yourself.
Yeah.
Right. So let's say drones did get legalized, for example. Me, you, most of the
Right.
people we associate with hunt for sport.
Right.
We eat the meat and all that stuff
Right.
too, but we hunt for sport. We like the challenge
Yeah.
of it. We wouldn't utilize that,
Yeah.
even if it's legal.
We want it to. Yeah. We want season to last a little bit of time.
Right, right.
We like deer hunting.
But at the same time, I wouldn't criticize somebody else for using it
Yeah.
if it's legal.
It's just you can use you can use a crossbow in Michigan, but you don't.
Right. Right. Yeah, because I like the challenge.
Right. You'd have to. And that's another thing is I think us really hardcore hunters, we probably put some type of a false sense of what's actually going on in the woods. Our cell cameras having a negative effect on deer hunting in Indiana. I don't really have any solid data to tell you it is or isn't, So it's what's actually affecting the deer, what's actually not. You got to decide that because you don't want to, you definitely don't want to over-regulate things either. I don't want people telling me what I can do on my own land,
Are you killing more deer or bigger deer in the last, say, 10 years since trail cameras have gotten so popularized?
I can't really tell you I've ever killed a deer because of a trail camera.
Yeah. But yeah, we
know.
brought 12 of them out here.
I know. It's silly, isn't it? It's become that technology has really become almost its own industry.
100%.
It's cool to know what deer are in the area for sure. And I've chased deer because I know that they're there because of trail cameras. But I've also found sheds of deer and chased them or their track or whatever,
This pendulum is starting to sway a bit too, and you've had people on your podcast talking about this that used to run a gazillion trail cameras, and they're like cold turkey.
Yeah.
I'm done, to zero.
Yeah.
And it does take the excitement out a little bit about it when you're running trail cameras.
Yeah.
Because I know for me, if I don't have any big bucks on camera, like I get a little demotivated to hunt because I'm like, I haven't got a picture in 2 months of a
but
shooter.
it also can raise the excitement if you got a big one on trail camera.
then there's that. But
yeah, you're right.
But the surprise element, when you truly don't know what's out there, you are geeked every time you walk out there because you don't know what's going to come around that corner behind that tree.
Yep.
I do still run them, but I
too.
could see myself going cold turkey being done with them.
I run less cell cameras than I used to, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
My cell camera usage is very limited now. I think they're a good tool and all that, but I'm not into the guys that have 20 or 30 or more of them. It's not my.
But if we can't point to, because I'm trying to think myself, I just asked you that question. In the last 10 years, do I have any book I can attribute that I've gotten off of trail camera? And I don't think I have either.
Yeah. I haven't, for sure. I've had deer on trail camera that I end up killing.
Sure.
A year, but not like actively oh, I got a picture of him and I killed him the next day or two.
Correct.
Never's happened to me.
Right.
But yeah, it is what it is. It's still even with now that live view thing, I don't know, that could be different, but with the delay of getting a text message like that, deer could be anywhere in 10 minutes, So
there's live feed
trail
cameras now.
Oh yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Big thing right now. Live feed.
How much battery those go through?
I don't know. I've never used one. About every company's is coming out with. I think Tacticam just came out with one. And then the other issue is, these used to be like the wealthy hunters' tools, right? You could, a cell camera was expensive, data plans were expensive. Now we freaking bought a trail camera at Rule King for $29, a cell camera yesterday, right?
The solar charger costs more than the camera.
Yeah, the solar charger for it cost more. The solar charger was $40, camera was $29.97 or whatever it was. And it's yeah.
But those are only coming down because there's much more advanced, more expensive stuff coming out.
Yeah,
like these live.
Maybe so. Or just there's so many of these things out there, these companies, it's not worth them to charge $200 for a camera anymore whenever they can charge you $5 a piece on their
data plan.
So why not sell you? It's like a long game. Why not sell you, instead of selling you 2 cameras for $400, sell you, 10 of them for $400.
Yep.
And then you're hooked for $5 a month for each one instead of just $5 a month for it. You do that math, it doesn't take very long to get ahead,
Well, it's kind of like your cell phone.
Yeah.
Every 2 or 3 years, they give you a free cell phone, but you got to commit to that contract for that duration. So they're more than making their money back.
Right. Yeah. I would hate to say that the cell cam industry has boomed the last couple of years, and they're going to have a lot of pull on regulations too. This is what it is.
But as a consumer, competition's a good thing.
Yeah, it is.
It does lower the price.
Yeah.
Keeps everybody honest to keep high quality because
and I'm glad that if I want to run 5 cell cameras, I don't have to pay $3,000 for them.
Right. And our wives are happy about that too.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Now lithium batteries.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
I used to exclusively run lithium.
Yeah.
I haven't bought lithium since COVID.
Yeah.
They are so expensive.
Yeah. It's crazy, isn't it?
That solar charger you picked up was cheaper than what it would have been if we just bought AA lithium batteries for that camera.
Might have been. I haven't priced lithiums for a while. Probably not, but that, that's obviously going to last a lot longer.
I bet pretty close.
Yeah. Hopefully, at least that's what we're hoping for. That's what we got a solar panel for, because we're pretty far away to change batteries in a camera.
Yeah. 13 hours to change batteries doesn't sound too appealing.
No. Dick will do it for you. Oh yeah. right. We've been on here for an hour and 15 minutes.
Went fast.
Let's go to bed and hit it again tomorrow.
This is literally what we do every night here. We're just recording tonight. But this is
last night.
This is what we talk about.
Yeah. So we kind of went over the Razor Broadhead stuff earlier in the episode, and then you guys got the BTE code.
Yep. Use Josh's code before the Echo or BTE. Either one will save you 20%. Just keep checking the website. We'll make an announcement on Instagram too if you follow us on there when those officially launch, but it'll definitely be before the season.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
Thanks, Josh.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for watching.